Yo, what up? What up?
Hey,
So,
hey,
got
hey.
Breezy in the house, and I got Tex in the house. So, how y'all doing? Monica is away on assignment for another show. You can catch her on
There you
Paranormal
go.
Roundtable. If you'd rather go catch her, by all means, go head over and hit up Monica. She's a great guest and a great co-host, and she's got a lot to deliver. So, by all means, if you prefer the preferablies, head on that way. Hello, everybody in the chat. So this is the first time me and Tex actually got to sit down and do a one-on-one kind of a thing.
Yeah, it is.
And Tex is very well known in the cryptid community. He's from what I remember, all things that creeps and crawls. And
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. Just, I mean, they ain't nothing that we won't look at for sure. I mean, and I've been doing it for quite a while now. And it surprised the crap out of me the other day when I was looking. I got back in touch with the woman that I shared my encounter with for the very first time that I ever went public with it. My first encounter, and I looked at the date on it, and it was 8 years ago. I like to fell out, man. Like crap.
It's funny how it flies like that, man. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I did music, and I didn't even think about it till early 2020s or 2019, 2020 when I started getting closer to out of it and was doing a show in Austin, and it kind of hit me. I was like, man, I'm like, 2 years away from my first album was released in 2004. And I was like, damn, I've been doing music for, 20 fucking years, man. So yeah, it's weird how it gets away from you like that.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, the older you get, the quicker it flies by, man. It's just insane.
Well,
Here we
yeah,
are, mid January of 2020, 2025.
right.
You
Well,
know,
see, it flies both ways for me because they always told me that when I was a kid. When you get older, it flies faster. But if I think if I think of it in terms as like, um, like my first album, I remember when I first got into it, blah blah blah. It doesn't seem that far away. But if
right?
I actually think about events that happened, I'm like, oh yeah, that was a long time ago. Like, or I think about the phone that I had back then. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh yeah, it didn't even record video. It had that snake game on it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
See, I
So
can remember. And I don't know how old you are. How old are you?
I'm 40. I'm 46. Gonna be 47 this
So
year.
you're a youngster. I'll be 58 in March, and um, I remember when I was growing up, we didn't have no freaking cell phone. There
Right.
weren't even
Yeah.
no damn pagers at that point. I can
No.
remember our school getting the first computers that were
Hmm.
this damn big, and the
Yep.
screen was this big, but and nothing but orange type on it. There was no graphics,
Right.
but we had party lines where I grew up,
Hmm.
because the phone company wouldn't run you a dedicated line. You're
Yeah.
too far out, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it went in serial. The phone line went serial instead of
Mhm.
parallel. So yeah, you'd have if someone was still on their phone, you could hear conversation. Yeah. See, I mean, I was born in '78, so
Yeah.
I I grew up experienced a bunch of that. Like when we got the first what were they, the Lisa twos, the Macintosh,
Hmm.
and there wasn't a computer class back then. Um and yeah, there was no graphics. It was all DOS font,
Yeah.
you know,
Because I
and
remember, I remember going in high school typing class. That was it. That was,
yeah.
and it was a required deal. You had to take at least 1 year of typing. Um, but yeah, it's just
Yeah, yeah. I remember. I mean, I think, my first gaming system uh, was a Commodore 64.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
so I do recall the old school, and I didn't have a cell phone until shit. I was already in college. I must have been like 18, 17, 18 years old.
What was it?
And
It wasn't Atari and it wasn't Sega. What was that other gaming system about way back in the day? Um,
there's okay, so
I don't remember what it was now.
was it the one that had the number pad and the steering wheel
Maybe.
on top of it?
Um,
It was
but
like
I'll tell you what,
Vision or
I've got one of those in the cabinet.
no shit. That's worth some
Mm-hmm.
loot, dude.
Really?
Dude, yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. My uncle, he has the original TI 2400 calculator in the box, and I was like, dude, I was like, because he used to work for TI, so he'd get all the stuff early, and he didn't really care about it, so he just put it up. He's kind of
Yeah.
like me. He's kind of a hoarder, but hoarder of cool stuff, not like
Right.
newspapers and shit. But I was like, dude, that's probably worth like $1,800 like right now. You could get it, for that anywhere. But yeah, so I'm with you. But you were probably in high school, and I was still in grade
Mm-hmm.
school or like late grade school,
Yep.
right? And they don't even call it
I
grade
was
school.
going into junior high about the time you were born.
Yeah,
Something.
yeah, because they don't even call it grade school now.
I know, right?
Yeah, they call it elementary, and yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
so you've had a ton of not to shift gears, but you you got a ton of experiences and stuff. So you do the cryptid thing
Mm-hmm.
mainly
And the
in
paranormal thing.
and the paranormal thing.
Yep.
So
Yep.
you do investigations as far as cryptids as well as ghosts, UFOs,
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that.
Yeah, in fact, we're the whole team is, of course, the Island of Misfit Toys, what to call ourselves. Um, we're in the middle, and Monica went out on the last into the field with us last time we went to this place, and it's here in Texas. I can't say the exact location, but
Right.
it's 12. It's no, it's 2,000 acres of private land, gated, and nobody lives on it. It's gas rigs and cows. That's it.
So
And
it's like rangeland.
yeah,
Sweet.
but there's structures on it from the early 1900s, and unmarked graves and the whole 9 yards. But there's seems to be a pack of dog man on the place. And we're in the middle of that investigation. We've made 2 trips out there. One was a scout mission, and the other one was a full blown investigation. And we saw some stuff. I mean, it was,
Really?
oh yeah, oh yeah. I had 2 sightings while I was out there. They were at night, but I got one of them on film. Listen to me on film. But
Yeah, right. Yeah, yeah. I do. I catch myself doing the same thing on the
but
telephone.
yeah, but it's over on my channel, and everybody went over. There's a homestead that everybody was investigating for paranormal purposes because there's nothing left but the foundation and a refuge pile. And a cistern. There's a cistern over there, what's left of it. But like right in front of the house where the house used to be, there's this huge old freaking oak tree. And that's where the whole family's buried, but they're unmarked graves. Nobody knows exactly where they're at. And the whole family supposedly died of like influenza or the pox or something like that.
Right.
And so they were all over there. And I said, I'm going to take off by myself. So I went down the road. And when you go down the road, I mean, in this place, and like I said, you're in the middle, smack dab in the middle of 2,000 acres, and there ain't nothing around you. And so I'm walking down through there, and recording the whole thing, and it's over there on the channel. But there's this thing that I noticed off in the brush when I was walking. It was on my left, and I caught something like something move, you know. So I shifted my camera over there, and I could see this thing. It looked like it had its back to me. It wasn't real huge, but it looked like it was like solid. It was like darker than the shadow type thing, you know.
Right.
And it looked like it was kind of turning and hunkering down when it's back to me, but I could see these ears sticking up, and it was standing up.
Yeah. No. I will nope the fuck out of there real quick.
So I'm sitting there filming this thing and talking to everybody, you know, that I'm recording, and I'm zooming in and zooming out and everything, you know, watching this thing. And it's, you know, trying I don't think it thought I could see it, you know. Evidently. I mean, it was just trying to ignore me, I think, but it didn't want to take off and move and give away its location.
Right.
But, and then I saw some eye shine bounce across the field. But I think that was deer running across the field, but it was still a cool sight. Because that weekend we were out there, man, I say weekend, we were out there 4 days till the storm ripped our camp apart. But all 3 tents were damaged. We were out there, I think it was 4 days we were out there, and we did a lot of fossil hunting, man. You can't take a step down in that creek bed without stepping on a fossil. I'm not exaggerating. It's crazy. And Monica was in hog heaven. She was just chipping, you know. And her poor thing, her back was killing her, but she wouldn't quit.
Yeah, she's a stubborn one.
A little bit.
Yeah, no, it's true, man. So where I lived in basically in the hood in North Austin. But
right,
if you took your bicycle or skateboard far enough north, you would hit a creek called Walnut Creek, and it was like sheared cliff on one side, and then, you know, open, you know, country on the other. Right. And it was fossil galore, fossil and fool's gold, you know, galore. Like, you'd sit there and as a kid, you know, like you said, chip away, and before you had it, you like got you a nugget the size of your fist of fool's gold.
Right.
You know? So yeah. Those definitely, and just to clarify, obviously we're Texas cats. What side of Texas are you on? Are you on north, west, east?
I'm in Fort Worth.
Oh, you're in Fort Worth. Okay, so you're North Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, gotcha.
Which throws a lot of people off because we call it North Texas. But when people from out of state, when you say North Texas, they think Panhandle. You know?
Yeah, they're thinking Abilene, and yeah. But it's and the place I'm talking about, hour down the road at that, you know. So right. So you've lived and stayed pretty much in the same spot your whole life, right?
I was born in Fort Worth, and I was in Fort Worth until I was got out of elementary school. And we had bought a place when I was little bitty. I mean, knee high to a short frog, you know, out in on the west side, way west of Fort Worth. Okay. And we had 20 acres out there, and there wasn't nobody out there. I mean, there was like 3-4 houses out there, and they, you know, in big plots of land like we had. And you could go and roam wherever the hell you wanted to go, you know, long landowners, and, you know, because we kind of did them a favor. We, you know, in these undeveloped places, you know, and stuff. And we would, you know, as a kid, I would roam places where they wouldn't necessarily always go. So, and then you ran into any problems or issues, you told them about it. And 9 times out of 10, you helped them fix it, or you fixed it when you ran up on it, you know, so that it was kind of a trade-off that way, you know? And, So shit, I roamed all over the place, man. We lived kind of down in a valley, and it was, yeah, it was great. I had some great hunting areas, man, trapping, and that's what I did. I mean, I had my friend was my dog, and my horse. I mean, that was it, and because being that young to get to somebody else's house for like a sleepover or whatever, it
Right.
was a major ordeal.
Right. Yeah. Most definitely.
But
Yeah, I can
um,
see. Yeah, my experience. See, I lived in the city, and then my stepdad, his family lived out in Bastrop when Bastrop was
yeah,
still, undeveloped, and there was no. You had like one stoplight, in the
yeah,
whole damn city. And to me, it was a cultural change because, you know, to me, 10 acres was the biggest thing I ever seen.
right.
And I could go out and play Rambo all damn, all damn day out
Oh yeah,
10 acres. You know what I mean? And so yeah, it is very different. But then I moved out here in 94, 94, 95, and been in the same property since.
right.
So a lot of the experiences I've had out here, especially with UFO phenomenon, and I've had one solid shapeshifter experience. One was, I don't know if I saw what I don't know if I had seen what I think I was seeing.
Mm,
Um, but the UFO pieces, yeah, because that's when there was nothing out here.
right.
So so yeah, it's definitely different. What was your first cryptid, I guess, experience?
Well, the funny thing is, I grew up. My family is from Texarkana, which is Fat Monster
Mm-hmm.
territory, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I grew up hearing hearing those stories even before they hit the it got real big at the theater and all that kind of stuff.
Right. The
Um,
town that or the town that
oh, the
dreaded
town that
sunset.
dreaded sundown. And now, see,
Yeah.
my mom was real good friends with and worked with one of the victims of him.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
they both worked in what they called a soda shop at that point.
Right.
Yeah.
Where they actually made soda syrup
Yeah,
and put it in their
milkshakes,
water. Right.
homespun milkshakes and everything. And,
Yeah.
and normally it was in the back of a drugstore or something like that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and I grew up, hearing about the Boggy Creek Monster, and there's a funny story about when when I was a kid, and there was a bunch of us cousins up there, and we were all hunting the Boggy Creek Monster in the backyard at Aunt's house, and we had our toy guns out there, and and my older cousin, he was like 17, 18 at the time. He went out the front door, climbed up on the roof, put on a gorilla mask, and jumped off the back of the back porch down the middle of all of us. And it's like somebody turned on a light and a bunch of cockroaches, man. They just,
Right.
and except for my dumb ass, I froze. I froze. And I was
Yeah.
standing there pulling the trigger of this toy gun thinking I'm going to do something. And my cousins were a lot smarter than I was. They ran. But but when I was 16, you got to remember, like I said, I was doing all this stuff by myself. I may have my dog with me. I may have ridden my horse out there, something like that. But a lot of times I was just hoofing it, right? And so I'd been hunting, and I was coming home, and I was walking down the gravel road one of the gravel roads that bordered our place. And I was just about to go through our fence into our pasture and take a shortcut home. And the sun hadn't went down yet, and I had two rabbits hanging off my belt and an empty 410 with me. That's all. And this thing come out of the brush on my left-hand side, ran across the road in front of me about 25, 30 feet away. And it was on two legs. And it was probably about 7.5, 8 feet tall. but I remember it turning its head and growling at me in mid stride, and then it dove over the fence, a 5-strand barbed wire fence. And when it dove over the fence, it went from 2 legs down to all fours in just a real smooth transition, and hit what we call, well, what we call love grass down here in Texas, right? And,
Mm-hmm.
which is, for you that if you're listening, you don't know it. It's pasture grass. I mean, it grows to about 3.5 feet tall, something like that. And once it hit that tall grass, I saw the grass move for a little bit, and then it was gone. Well, after I shit myself, um, and
Yeah,
I
I
know,
would.
well, I know this seems like it takes a long time to explain, but it was like a matter of, like that.
Right.
I was like, I had a decision to make. I could either go follow him where I was going to go, or I would take the long way home and travel the roads. And the road I was on went up and then teed into another road that went across the front of our place, and our driveway was on the opposite side. So it was like, make a big square. So I figured I was better off on the road, stick with
Yeah.
the road, what you're doing, stay out of the moors type shit. And the entire walk is pretty much a blur. I really don't remember a whole lot. I remember turning that first turn and thinking to myself, if he charges me, at least I may have a swing at him. That's the only, but the other part of the other rest of the walk is really, it's not even there.
Yeah.
Um,
You're in shock. I mean,
yeah.
yeah.
And
You see
I
something you
walked,
don't.
I walked in the house and I walked in the kitchen. I pretty much just fell into a kitchen chair, and I put my gun on the table, which was a big no-no in my house. And my mom, I remember she was in the kitchen. I don't remember what she was doing, cooking or cleaning or I don't know. But she turned around. I think she was fixing to jump on me for having my gun in the kitchen, much less sitting on her kitchen table, right? And but when she saw me, she just stopped dead in her tracks. She says, "Oh my God, what's wrong with you? You look like you've seen a ghost." And folks, when I tell you, I tried to tell her, I honest to God tried to tell her what was going on, and no sound would come out. I could not speak. So my sister lived next door to us, about 30, 40 yards away or so. And so she called my sister. My sister come over, and it took them better part of an hour to calm me down enough where I could actually tell them what had happened. You know, and they were like, "Well, maybe you saw this, maybe you saw that, and your imagination took over that type of thing." I'm like, "Oh, no, no, no."
I
you know,
knew what I saw. Yeah.
but I didn't, and then I've said this 1,000 times. This happened before the term "dog man" was even coined. You know, and
Right.
I thought I saw a werewolf. That's what I called it.
Yeah.
Looked
That's.
like
I mean, yeah. Any. Because that's the closest thing we relate to. Because
Yeah.
The only time that you're even convinced that that's a real thing is from movies, right? You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like the news isn't going to go, oh yeah, or you don't see a dog man in the zoo. You know what I mean?
Right.
So yeah, so of course, yeah,
Yeah.
that'd
Because
be
I
my
was,
first go to.
yeah, because you're like, mine's got a reboot. I mean, literally. And over the years, I mean, they didn't tell me I was lying. They didn't tell me I was crazy. They tried to rationalize what I had seen so I would feel better and deal with it better, you know. But I stuck to my guns on what I saw, and we even gave it a freaking nickname and shit. But it wouldn't come up a lot, but every once in a while it would come up, and we kind of used, I got to where I kind of used a sense of humor about it because that was, I don't know, it's just my way of dealing with it.
Yeah,
But for about almost a year afterwards, I quit going anywhere. I wouldn't get off the property, and I'd barely go across. If I had to go to the damn barn, I don't care if it was night, day, whatever, I'd load it for damn bear. And I didn't take my little gun. I took daddy's. And about it, what's crazy is about a year before that happened, we had a dog that, and of course, we had several dogs. Hell, we were, country folks, and we lived in a trailer house. And one of the dogs went missing. Well, the only way we found him, he started stinking, and he was under the house, right?
Mm.
Well, Daddy ain't gonna get under there. Guess who gets to go in there? And get
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah.
No. So I crawled on there and dragged him out, and it literally looked like somebody had held him up by his front legs and just gutted him. It was brutal.
Right.
And Dad said it was. Oh well, he just wrote it off. He said, well, he probably got into it with a bobcat, crawled up there and died. Okay, I hadn't seen nothing weird at that point, and the thing about it is, everybody, all the ranchers and farmers and everybody, they would have stuff come up missing or get tore up, animals, and it always got blamed on one or two things. It was either a pack of wild dogs, and I never ran across a pack of wild dogs anywhere. I don't know what the hell they were talking about, or a big cat, which they did come through the area on occasion. They were, rare, but they did come through the area. So it was, it was a believable thing, But and like I said, about a year after that happened is when I had the sighting. Well, it took me better part of a year, about 8 months, I guess, or something like that, to start going back doing what I was doing. I, take baby steps, and because I got mad. I got tired of being scared. I felt like I was being bullied and shit. And I'm like, no, this dog ain't gonna hunt, So I started taking baby steps and going out and stuff. And eventually got to where I was doing my thing. I was back in the groove, doing my thing again. And I was going to the same damn place that I was hunting before I had the sighting. And I was just about to cross over the fence, and I heard something walking in the brush. This shit was thick. You had to travel the game trail. It was so thick. But this thing was walking, and I could hear it coming, moving through the brush. And I had there was a set of twins that I went to school with, and they lived on the other side of this place, which was about 1,200 acres. And they lived on the other side of it, and they hunted it too, So I thought, well, maybe it's them. And I hollered out, and it stopped, right? And I hollered again, and it kind of shifted its weight. And I hollered again. I said, David Doug's that one of y'all? Let me know. Again, just like shifted its weight or whatever. And I hollered out again. I said, look, I said, if you don't say something, I'm going to shoot. So I popped off around up in the air, which hindsight's 2020. It's probably not the smartest thing I've ever done in my life.
Yeah. Just give away the location.
Yeah. And this thing come charging through the damn brush at me. I never saw it, but it sounded like a damn bull coming through the brush. And I tucked tail and I hauled ass, right? I didn't look back. If I was fixing to get eat, I didn't want to know it, because all this shit's coming back. Honestly, when it started, when I'm hollering at it and stuff like that, my mind's starting to click back to what I'd seen, and I'm getting all antsy and shit already. But when that thing started charging me, I turned around. I didn't want to look back. I didn't want to know what the hell was going to happen. Right. And I ran all the way back home. It was probably a mile or so back home. And
well, yeah, because you're being re-traumatized right after you get over the trauma and manifest in your nugget that you got to go back out and get back on that horse again. You get bucked right back off.
Yeah. Well, then I didn't have nothing happen for a while. And then I was, and Jason gets on me because I kind of leave this. I've started telling it now because it's, as bad as I want to admit it, I believe it's part of this whole situation that I was dealing with. A while later, I was at home by myself. Parents were out of town or whatever. And it came one just hell of a lightning storm, raining cats and dogs, and all that kind of stuff. And I love storms, so I'm watching, I'm watching all the lightning and shit from the house. And I'm looking out the kitchen window. And the lightning flashes, and I see something beside a power pole that's on the backside of our property. And I'm like, what the hell is that? And then it would the lightning would flash again, and it would like change its position. It would like lean on the pole, and then the next flash it would be standing up, and I'm like, the hell is going on? Of course, I'm flashbacking again, right?
Right.
Like, son of a bitch, leave me alone, you know. And so when I got scared, you know, and I went and got my daddy's gun. I loaded it up, and I called a buddy of mine I went to school with. And of course, he didn't do nothing but call me a wuss, you know. Oh, you're lying, whatever, you know,
Yeah.
type thing. I'm like, no, man, there's something out there, man. It's watching the house, and you think ain't nothing out there watching the ain't nobody watching the house in this storm. What the hell's going on? You know, what are you thinking? You know, you know, that type of thing. I sat there and watched this thing for a long time, and then one time I raised the window and it was gone. You know, I'm like, oh, okay. And then even the next day, I finally fell asleep just from pure freaking exhaustion, adrenaline dump. I don't know what it was. Probably a little bit of both. But I went back the next day and went out there to see if I could find anything, right? And one, I wanted to see if there was like a cross tie fence post out there that I was seeing, and my eyes were playing tricks on me with the lightning and all that kind of stuff. That's what I was really hoping it was, to be honest with you. But there wasn't. There wasn't nothing, you know, except a T-post by that by that thing.
Right.
And of course, the hard rain and everything washed any tracks or any sign away, you know. But whatever it was, just stood there and watched the house, man. And I don't know. I can't say what it was. It's like I can't say what, you know, charged me through the brush. Okay, but you do the math, and it's kind of hard to come up with another explanation besides it being what I had run into.
Right. Because you got, well, so the things that stick out to me, of course, is the bipedal part,
yeah,
and then transferring into the quadpedal. But there is a drip of intelligence in there,
right,
because it knew what a gun was, obviously.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Because any wild animal, when they hear a loud bang like that, they haul ass. They ain't sticking around to find out what the fuck it is.
right.
You know? So and also, like you're saying, when it's outside and it's leaning up against the electrical pole, you know, and then it's in observation mode. And normally a natural animal is, during a rainstorm, they're going to go seek shelter and try to stay as dry as they possibly can.
Exactly. This thing didn't give a damn.
Yeah, I didn't give a flying fuck.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are the two that stick out for me on that one. So yeah, I would definitely, if I had to put money on that roulette wheel, I'd go with the dog man on that one. Because the point of the ears, right? And you're not looking at this big hulkish Bigfoot type thing, right, with no ears.
And I say all the time, I wish the hell it'd been a Bigfoot that I saw. It's been a hell of a lot easier to explain.
Why is that? Oh, because it'd be easier to explain.
Well, I mean, you got to remember where my family was from. You know, right. I think it'd been a whole lot easier for them to swallow than I saw a damn werewolf. You know, not that they about half believed the whole Boggy Creek monster stuff going around, because it was rumor at that point. You know,
yeah.
But you know, it's. I still think it would have been a hell of a lot easier to explain.
Yeah. Not to shift gears, but I know I use that term a lot. Sorry to the chat. I'm redundant.
Hey, at least you push in the clutch, man. That's more than I can say.
Right. But where were you during the, what was it, the Lake Worth monster? Do you remember being around then? Was that in your time? Yeah. Did that happen? Was that like a commonality and everybody in the Fort Worth area knew?
it was a story that I mean we talked about quite a bit when I was in elementary school. You know, um, but it was one of those spooky stories that kids tell each other at that point.
God,
Um, and when I got into all this, me and Jason had we was trying to figure out what the hell that thing was, and I think it was I think it was a Sasquatch. I really do.
yeah,
But descriptions of it went all over the place. It was they said it had half of it was scaly like a fish, and it had goat horns and the body of a person and all that kind of stuff. But the event that stuck out really was the one that when there was like 20 something people that witnessed this thing, counting cops. You
yeah.
know, I mean when they went to break up that damn party that bunch of teenagers were having out yonder,
Mm.
and it damn thing roared at them and chunked a tire.
Turn tire,
God
yeah,
knows how long,
yeah.
uh, and there were some other encounters with out there where it actually clawed gashes into a car that I think there was 3 or 4 people in, that type of thing. But
So that was like I guess amongst the locals, that was kind of a known thing. They didn't know what it
oh,
was, but
oh yeah,
it was like
yeah,
no.
yeah, because everybody called it a goat man. Everybody called it a goat man.
Oh, really?
That's
I
what.
didn't know that.
Yeah, that's what it's known as, Goat Man of Lake Worth, Greer Island specifically. Um, but yeah, it's Lake Worth Goat Man. It's look it up. That's what it is. What it's called. I don't think it was a goat man at all. I think it was a Sasquatch. But um, yeah, it's so I grew up with all this kind of stuff, and I guess that's what made me one part of it that made me so open to being open minded like I am now. Um, but honestly, when you run into a damn dog man 25, 30 feet in front of you in a broad daylight, that changes
Yeah.
your perspective on a whole lot of shit, brother. I'm telling you.
Oh, yeah, dude. No, see, yeah. So yeah, I've never had. So I grew up in early part of grade school and mostly through grade school and even into middle school in a haunted house.
Right.
So all my shit has been um haunted, like very, very. I think I talked about it on Blondes and Booze, and UFO.
Right.
UFO. I remember there was a year. I think it was either the summer between fourth and fifth grade, or between fifth and sixth. But I think it was between fourth and fifth. And I had a buddy. Me and him were, like, you know, inseparable.
Right.
We hung out all the time. And that summer, um, we probably, man, I couldn't even tell you how many UFOs we sighted, and not just being like dumb kids, like literally, I seen the saucers that summer. Seen the saucers, seen the cigar shaped ones,
Mm.
um, the orbs. I didn't see my first black triangle till um, that would have been about seventh grade. But yeah, so I continue to see them all. Appreciate that, Boondock. Um, I've seen them all, you know, throughout the years, and even up to recent years. I don't think I've seen one in the last maybe 5 or 6 years, but I've had ones that um, mess with your freaking cars, your
Hmm.
electronics, whole 9 yards. And when I'm saying I've seen these, it's not just me going, yeah, I saw one. It's like groups of people. Because like
Right.
one of the ones I had was there was probably about 10 of us when we were partying here at the house. And then my brother Jake and somebody else, they left, and we were like, all right, later, man, you know, blah, blah, blah. And they came back and they're like, dude, you got to come with me. So we all got multiple vehicles, rolled about from here. It's about a city block and a half. And there's a ranch. And, you know, this mirrored looking orb, you know, like mirrored finish is shining a light, but the light's not coming from the orb, but it's present on the ground, and it's chasing the cows in this ranch. You know, this ranch quarter. It's like where they come and they let them feed, and they move them out to another spot, and then all of our electronics, like on the cars. My boy Steven, his car wouldn't start. His radio started messing up. Just very weird electronic stuff going on. And then when it zipped away, everything went back to normal. Radio went back to normal. The car wasn't, you know, it wasn't that it wasn't starting, but it was, what do you call it? Like gurgling. It was like, you know, it wasn't running in timing.
Right.
And it was an old
Mustang. Kind of like it's out of time. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was an old Mustang. So it worked on point system instead of, you know, yeah. So, you know, those are pretty weird, but all the things I've ever been up against, I guess you could say, have all been either paranormal or UFO. I don't want to say extraterrestrial because I believe it's more interdimensional.
Right.
But yeah. And then recently I saw that shapeshifter. So just real quick on that. And I guess this is the only cryptid type thing I've ever seen. So when I first moved out here, excuse me, in about 95, 96, you know, and I had this IROC that, because back then that's what you did. You cruised, you know what I mean?
Right. Oh,
because there ain't nothing to do in the country. You just, you know, roll one up and pop open a beer and go cruising. And there was this, it seemed like it was every freaking other day, or, you know, 2 or 3 times a week, there's a family of hyenas. So when you leave my road and you go and hit the main farm to market road, there's a big hill that you go down, and there is a watering hole, you know, little, we call them tanks, you know, I hear, I don't know,
tanks, ponds, whatever you call them.
Yeah. And so I'm figuring that's where they were going to and fro, but it was a bunch of hyenas, like a whole family of them. And it was like a big hyena followed by a littler, smaller.
So was this like, I mean, known that these hyenas were there?
Everyone I knew saw them. Everyone, you know, you know, all my brother. Well, my brothers, they were still too young to drive, so they'd have to sneak out at night to, you know, get into the car and go hang out. But all the people that I knew that were my age that were driving, they're like, yeah, blah blah blah. And I didn't find out till shit, man, like 2 or 3 years ago that hyenas aren't supposed to be here. You know, I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, that ain't normal.
See them all the time, you know. And they're like, no, they're not indigenous to North America, you know, like. And we don't have any, back then we didn't have any zoos out here, you know, so it's like not like something that could escape from a zoo or anything like that. But that same hill, I was going down it, and so you hang a right and you start going down the hill. So I wasn't even going like 45 miles an hour yet, because you're still building up speed. And there's a squirrel and off to the right in the ditch, and I'm like, dude, you better, you know, because, you know, when wildlife crosses over, you're like, dude, you better get over, because he was trying to make it across across the road. And so, you know how they run, and then whenever they start to actually try to haul ass, they go into like a hop phase, right? So it was running, and it got to right where the asphalt meets the, you know, the grass, and it did like a one hop regular, and then a bigger hop, and the third one it got all the way to the yellow line, so it had to have jumped 8 feet, right? That's about how wide a double lane highway is with the center stripe. And then when it hit that, it did it again, but it started like morphing into this grayish, and then it started turning blue. And then before it landed on the other side, it turned into a fucking bird and almost hit bottom, but then just glided up. And then it glided over the same pasture that UFO, you know, that orb we spotted was same exact ranch pasture. And and I was like, did I just see? And I got to work, and I called Jen, and I was like, dude, you're never gonna believe this shit. I don't even know if I want to talk about it on, you know, because this is when I was starting to get my channel together and stuff.
Right. And
I was like, I don't even want to, because, you know, okay, you pop up in a new channel, and then all of a sudden you see something, and I'm like, I don't know, it sounds phony as shit. But it wasn't. It was like one of those things that kind of held on to. And I was like, no, dude, I seen it. And we talk about this type of stuff, you know, all the time. So why feel entrapped by a fake prison by it? Because that's what we are.
I mean, you know, I mean, we're always telling people, you know, you can tell your stories, not be judged, and you know, here you are, you're hesitant to tell anybody because you're afraid what's going to happen.
Right. Yeah.
You know. So, I mean, here we are. We got these channels, and we're like, man, I don't know if I want to talk about this. That's like my timeline. You know, I still don't know what to make of that shit, but I mean, I've had it remote viewed. And, Danielle's looked at it psychically, I guess you can. And they come up with the same thing. It's two different people that didn't know I was talking to, you know, one another, and they come up with the same explanation. According to them, I was abducted. And I don't want to be that guy, man. I really don't.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, no, I don't want to.
Yeah.
But evidently, Otex got the Golden Probe Award. So, you know.
No, I did. I have actually, it was a group of us, about, I don't know how many of us there were, but we all had a missing time experience with a UFO. And
there was two of us that experienced this at the same time.
Yeah.
So, and we caught part of it we recorded part of it.
Well, we didn't get to record. We didn't get to record it, but the next day. So this is back when like you had like Windows 95 and shit. And my cousin, he's artistic ass dude. He went on Windows Paint and like recreated the whole thing. And he's one of them cats like, okay, so me and all my friends, we were all stoners and you know, drinking and stuff. But he's one of those sober cats. I mean, he went, you know, to the Navy. He doesn't smoke bud, nothing like that, you know. So he's one of the and he's like, oh yeah, I remember. Yeah, you know, I remember last night. And that was a weird one. And it was all because we were fucking around and finding out. And there was this so we had a tree house that's literally right behind my house. It's about 20 feet away. And we saw this, you know, glowing object, you know, or, you know, lit object, but it was in like a zigzag pattern.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, we're off. There's like, I don't know how many of us were there. I could probably start counting it, but someone got the big freaking idea to start flashing a fucking flashlight at it and signaling it. And then everything kind of lit up around us. But like, same with that orb thing, there was no source beam of light. Like there wasn't a flashlight. And then it went off and it turned off and everybody was sick as shit. You could hear people puking off the treehouse. You know, it was like everyone was nauseous. And we called it and it had to have been like midnight-ish when we were up there when we saw it. And it was like 3 a.m. next thing you know.
Yeah.
You know, it was, but, you know, I don't know. You know.
No, I don't either.
Yeah. Fucking weird.
I mean, we were out, hell, we were out going Bigfoot hunting, you know, or I guess you won't call it, you know. But
squatching.
Yeah, squatching. There you go.
Squatching.
But we drove up and parked, and we actually parked in the same spot that I had my first sighting, my first Bigfoot sighting. And we went down in the river, the floodplains, the river bottoms, whatever you want to call it. And I still research that. This is Brown Springs, where I research at. And so me and him, we walk down there, and we take off to the left, and we walk quite a ways, and I think that's the time where I think that's where we found the tree twist, and if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, this tree twist was it's the best one I've ever seen. Damn tree was about this big around. It was a live oak tree, and it had been twisted so much that it just exploded about 3 feet off the ground, and it was just laid over into another tree, and it was so fresh that it was still bleeding sap. And you know, we're trying to find any explanation we can for it, and we couldn't find any tool marks, we couldn't find any track marks, we couldn't find anything. And and I thought, well, you know, maybe the wind, okay, whatever. But it had all these dead saplings that were about this big around, all around it. None of them were touched.
Right. Yeah, it's not some little class or F1 tornado that twisted that particular. Yeah,
exactly. So anyway, we continue on and everything, and we had to pick his kids up at the bus station about 3. And I make it a point not to even pay attention to what time it is. You know, it's so I almost want to forget that I got my damn phone in my pocket and that type of thing. If I turn it off, I learned that the hard way. But so when we were walking and we're like, damn, I'm getting kind of hungry. Let's head back and we have lunch, and then we go pick the kids up, right? Hang out and then we go pick the kids up. So we turn around, we start walking back. Well, we missed the turn off to the truck, the trail that goes up the truck, and it was clearly freaking marked. I mean, there's no doubt, you know. And I was still green as far as being out there in that area, so I really didn't know, you know, a lot about it, but he did. You know, he'd been going out there for years. And so we missed that spot where we turn off to go up to the truck. And the thing about it is, we missed it by like a quarter of a mile. And when we turned around and when we was like, man, we missed the damn truck, whatever, you know. So we started walking back. And when we got back to the truck, it was like 4:30 in the afternoon. And he was like, what the hell, you know? And I mean, we wrote it off, honestly. It was like, oh, we just lost track of time, whatever. You know, let's hurry up and get there, you know, whatever. So for a while, we just kind of wrote it off. We didn't even talk about it privately or publicly. I was a co-host on this channel. And so he started reviewing the footage. He was filming the whole thing, and we never left each other's hip, right? And so he started reviewing the footage, and at some point the number one thing was, you know how you use a digital camera and you stop and start and the files are numbered and then they're in sequence.
Right.
When he pulled the card, they were all jumbled up. Right. The files were all jumbled up, and that's crazy in itself.
Yeah.
But hey, Red. So then in part of the footage, it looks like somebody or something has this damn camera and they're sprinting through the freaking river bottoms and spinning around and everything. And me or him we're nowhere in sight. And we really didn't. I mean, we really didn't talk about it much. We didn't. I don't know why.
I wouldn't either. That's fucking spooky. That's some Blair Witch shit,
right?
Yeah.
So anyway, now according, I was talking about this on Rob's show one time. Hey, Grandizer, the Josh Casto people start rolling in.
Yeah.
So we start. Where was I? Shit. Oh, shit. Where was I? I was on Rob's show. Yeah, I was on Rob's show and I was talking about it. And I had at that time Jessica Jones was part of her team, and I had asked her to remote view. She's a very skilled remote viewer, and I'd asked her to remote view this situation, and I never really looked into it or anything at that point. And when I was at work one night, and she called me, and she says, because I told her, I said, remote view it, get your information, and we'll talk about it on the show. And I want to do it blind because I want people to find out at the same time I am.
Natural reaction, right?
Yeah. And she goes, I really need to talk to you about this. I'm like, I don't want to talk about it. I want you to reveal it. She goes, no, you don't understand. I really think you need to know at least a little bit about this before you get into this. You need to decide if you want to talk about this on air. I'm like, what the hell? And she starts telling me that me and him were abducted, and that when they snatched me up, he, of course, I mean, understandably so, he took off running. And she said that one of the funny things is she picked up on the aliens. No shit. I guess aliens. I don't know. But for lack of a better term, I guess.
Yeah.
When they got me up there, I wouldn't go down without a fight. But that's the saving grace in this whole thing to me. That's what helped me deal with this. Is, I'd make it easy for them. So, right. But I remember absolutely nothing about this, and we had no ill effects. We didn't wake up on the ground going, "What the hell happened?" We didn't get sick. Nothing. It was just like it was gone. So, anyway, one of the beings in the ship said, "Oh, we got a big one." But anyway, he, like I said, when I was snatched up, he understandably took off running. Now he denies this, but then there was two people in chat that also know him and me, and they said, and I didn't realize this. I had no idea that there was more footage of this. And like I said, he denies this, but whatever. We don't talk anymore. So anyway, according to those two people, and I found this in chat live on air, and it rattled me, brother. It did. The other footage shows the camera hitting the ground and him running off.
Huh.
Okay.
So that brings validity.
Deny that, I don't know. It doesn't make him look like a coward at all. That's saving your own damn skin. I mean, there ain't nothing he can do for me at that point. But right after that, he was snatched up too, from what I was told. And so, this is revealed on air, and I'm live, and I'm shook up, and I get a little emotional. And Granddaughter, this was when she was part of the team. She didn't get kicked out. What are you talking about? We're still friends. Stop. Quit with the rumors. So anyway, while some time passes and everything, I get invited to go up on the Spaced Out Radio, and that's when I met Danielle Diva, right?
Okay, I know that
Mhm.
one. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I hope so. She's part of my crew, so that's who I do my true crime show with, by the way. But
Right.
she's also a psychic medium,
Yeah,
and
Jen likes Jen's a fan. She's like, I
good,
like that chick.
yeah, she's cool. A sweeter soul you'll never meet in your life. I'm just telling you. But so I'm on SOR with Jessica and Grand somebody's not Grandizer, I don't think, but it was um oh no, it was no, she didn't get kicked out. She focused on her own stuff, and that's it's fantastic. I mean, but we're talking, and this is live, and they're out talking to me about my experiences and all this kind of stuff, right? And I said, yeah, I had a time loss incident. She goes, whoa, stop right there. I'm like, okay, what the hell's going on? I'm thinking she's going to say we can't talk about that or something like that.
Right.
She goes, let me tell you what I just picked up on. And she told me almost verbatim the same damn thing that Jessica had told me, and they had never, she didn't know anything about this. They didn't
Right.
know anything, at that time, they didn't know anything.
So you
And,
got two independent sources telling you the same thing.
right.
Right. So
So I'm
yeah,
like,
that
crap,
brings
this is kind of
validity.
hard to, I'm finding it real hard to stick my head in the sand on this one, But it I will tell you, it's something that I don't talk about it a whole lot. I don't mind talking about it. It's just I can't the whole me. I haven't come to terms with me being abducted. Um, I'm still in denial about it, honestly,
Right.
because like I said, I don't want to be that guy. I've seen Bigfoot, I've seen Dogman, I've seen paranormal stuff. Oh well, now he's been abducted. I mean,
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's like I'm sorry, I can't happen. I can't help what happens to me. I go out in these weird ass places, and all this shit happens. I do what a lot of people don't do. I go out there and spend days and nights at a time by myself. This shit happens to me. Okay, this shit happens to people when they're with me. So
Right.
it's like, where do you get? What do you do with that? Brandy had her first Bigfoot sighting with me out in Brown Springs. And it when you
No,
when you
I,
start when you start dealing with all this shit, it's just I don't know. It's just a lot to process.
yeah, no, it's weird, and it's weird how it follows somebody like that because like I remember when I grew up in the house that I grew up in Austin, it was haunted as all get out. And then I started noticing that it wasn't just mine. Like my buddy Ryan, the same dude I used to see all the UFOs with, that summer, um, it was at his house too. And
Yeah.
he lived probably, maybe 10 blocks away from me. But it was kind of like it followed. And then I remember even going up to my aunt's house. My grandma she was going to go visit my aunt, asked if I wanted to go up in Kansas. And as soon as I get there, haunted, and they're like, oh yeah, the house is haunted. No big
Oh
deal.
yeah.
Yeah, they're like, oh, he's a good dude. He actually takes care of the kids, and that's a really long story.
Save that for my show.
Yeah, I got you, man. I think I told it on Blondes and Booze, and then my aunt caught the show, and she texted me this long, message, and she's like, "You forgot about, because there was a big Civil War battle on the
Mm,
property that she owned, and and she lived, of course, chain link fence across from a graveyard." And there's old ancient graves on her site that have no, they're
right.
just tombstones. They don't have any information on them. So yeah, So I think that is a very well recognized fact, is that once you see these things, regardless of whether it's UFOs or ghosts or um, cryptids or sprites or fairies, or
Yeah.
it's like because I believe everything's frequency. So the
Right.
more tuned in you are to that frequency, it's just like listening to a channel on your old FM AM radio. If you know that frequency is there, and you're like, oh, 92.3 or 94.7, you
Right.
know, you're more susceptible to visiting it, regardless of it's voluntary or involuntary, you know, because if you, and then when I went to school for technology and electronics and computer science,
Right.
you learn that it's what you call a carrier frequency. So the
Gotcha.
carrier frequency you tune into, and then within that frequencies, there's the frequencies that are audible or visual. So like we have back in the old school with TVs, you had the UHF and the VHF channels. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So those are the carrier frequencies. So if your body's tuned into them, I believe you're more susceptible, I guess you'd say. I guess that's the best word I can think of, to, or vulnerable to
Hmm.
actually being able to pick up on those. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
They're in your preset. That's the best way I can put it. So yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I'm with you on the whole frequency thing. For the simple fact that I really can't come up with another reason for a bunch of this stuff.
Yeah.
It's like when you start talking about the infrasound, the ultrasound, and
Yeah.
the EMF and everything. And I'll tell you something that used to happen when I lived out on the old family place, and it used to happen fairly regular. Um, these big booms, and they would shake the house, rattle the windows and the pictures on the wall, right? And we
Mm.
never could. We just assumed that it was because we were in an unpopulated area, so to speak, that it was aircraft flying over and breaking the sound barrier, right?
Right. Or
Um,
neighbors dynamiting something, or
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
And then I came up with it, and as a young man, I was trying to come up with reasons that this was happening, and I'm like, well, maybe they're kind of like I don't know, searching for oil and using sonic waves, and I don't know.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. You
But
try to come up with something more
yeah,
scientific than, yeah.
but then later in years, I start hearing other people talk about that phenomenon also. And then these you hear about these strange noises in certain towns, out in the middle of nowhere, and the whole town hears these hums and stuff. You remember all
Right.
that?
Like the trumpets and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, and not only the trumpets, like just the steady hum that would you could hear throughout town, but there was no source ever located.
Mm.
And I'm like, well, what in the hell? I mean, what is this stuff, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But there again, you start talking about the whole vibration thing, and maybe it's geological sounds. Maybe all of it is.
Yeah.
You
Could
know,
be.
because when we were out in Brown Springs doing some investigations, we had a spectrometer with us, and we started picking up infrasound and ultrasound at the same time. But you know, and we was trying to come up with a reason for it. And this is out in the middle of nowhere, folks. Um, but that was what I was leaning towards, is geological noise that we can't hear. You know,
Yeah.
and we know certain frequencies affect us. You
Oh,
know,
absolutely.
that's
Yeah.
no secret.
Absolutely. Yeah.
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 So
No, there's I'd say recently, but it's probably a good maybe 10 years ago,
Right.
we started getting out here, and it was me and my buddy. He's like a brother to me,
Right.
Mike, and he was sleeping on the couch, for a while, and needed a place to stay. And but we would start hearing this, or not actually hearing it, feeling it in the house,
Yeah.
and it was like a rumble, like a,
Mhm.
and it got to the point where we were like, dude, and mute the TV, mute the stereo, whatever, and go outside. And it sounded like it was coming from the direction of Austin, Texas, from where I'm at.
Right.
And, and that one I ended up chalking up to, as crazy as it may sound, um, the underground tunnel diggers,
Mm.
because there was this whole thing around that time that was talking about how they were building these super like super train,
Oh,
um,
yeah.
yeah, they would go from,
Yeah.
for the elites and all this, right? And so I'm like, oh, that's what they're doing. They're digging, because apparently I remember reading something about one of them was they got the technology to where it could go through, you know, I'm just shooting from the hip on the distance, but like 3 feet a minute. So it was
Mm.
basically like just driving through, kind of like that one on Total Recall.
Yeah.
You remember that movie? Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I that's where I went with it, but it was disturbing enough the first time that we heard it, to where because he had a daughter living across town, and he like went into full panic mode, like it's the end of the world. I got to go get my daughter.
Oh,
The earth
wow.
is the earth is rumbling, and you take you know um religious texts, biblical texts or whatever,
Yeah.
and you go into that. Same with the trumpet thing, the seven trumpets and the
Yeah.
seven seals, and so yeah, it wasn't nothing that made us go, huh, wonder what that is. It sent into full panic. Well, at least him into full
Right.
panic mode, and I went, what the hell?
Hmm.
I'm going to YouTube this on Coast to Coast and find out find out what's going on.
Yeah. I don't.
But if you take into account um, the underground cavernous systems, right? So
Right.
like we have the cavernous system that goes from Texas all the way through Mammoth Cave, all the way up to Maine almost, you
Right.
know, and you're taking a hollow system.
Yeah.
What happens, just logically, what happens in a hollow system if noise is being, made, or if things are being, shook up, it's going to vibrate through that entire. I mean, that's why speaker systems are great the way they are. That's why speaker boxes are so important. You know what
Right.
I mean? Like, yeah, you got to have certain amount of airspace and blah blah blah, and yeah, it resonates. It's resonation, frequency resonation. So that's why I go back to the frequency thing, and then I also think about, when you look at like some of the modern squatching parts and dogman parts, where they talk about um how they can have what is it, like night vision and stuff like that, and they'll avoid it
Right.
because they can actually sense the frequency. They can actually sense, kind of like a spotlight but infrared. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
So they avoid it. you know and then you also think about, well, I do at least, where they can follow a set of tracks up, and then into a valley or into, and then they just disappear. So
Yeah.
it's not like, so the theory on that is, or one of the theories on that is that they change frequencies and, portal or multiple dimension jump into, different frequency of being.
Yeah.
But I'm not completely sold on that, but I mean, it is something to think about because, when you talk about, um, Halloween and the solstices and the veils and the frequency veils that are coming to where you can actually see through the veil and see other. So it comes into play on a lot of that shit. So,
Well, the thing about it is when you start talking about the veil, and it was a hot topic up until a couple of months ago. That that the all the sightings and everything were ramping up. Of course, that's when everybody was. That was It's real funny because it was right before the congressional hearings and all that kind of stuff. I'm
yeah.
like, but I didn't even think about that until later, and I'm like, why does this coincide with this? And is it really the veil thinning, or is it hey, look over here, type
Right,
thing?
right, yeah.
Because I'm beginning to think that's probably more of what it is.
Well, yeah, especially with nowadays with modern media and social media. Yeah, it's definitely. I think a lot of it is definitely look over here while we do this over here.
Yeah,
You
yeah. I
know.
think and honestly, and that link that I sent you earlier,
Mm,
they touch on that very,
okay.
very much, and they specifically talk about the drones.
Okay.
Which,
Nice. Nice. The
yeah,
drone
which is one
war
of
thing, like in Jersey and all that.
yeah, which is
Sweet.
very interesting. Yeah.
Sweet.
So yeah, it's um
The
I'm
thing
gonna tell
that.
you when after if you finish watching that one episode, you'll want to have we're gonna have to come back on and have another conversation because the shit will blow you away. I mean, it really
Oh
will.
yeah. No, I'm down, dude. I love shit like that. But yeah, so the only thing that okay, yeah, I do believe in now they're pushing like a Project Bluebeam type of agenda. And this
Yeah.
is just for entertainment purposes only. Don't shut my channel down.
Yeah. Right.
But if you go to like the ancients, right? So like
Right.
you go to certain places like what are they called? It starts with an H. I can't think of it right now. I'm not gonna. Um, there's one in the island of Malta. Stonehenge is one, and most religious places they are tuned in to so the where they preach and what do you call that, man? Um, the arena, I guess you'd say, or they're tuned into a specific frequency. It's called a 110 hertz
Hmm.
frequency. And then the 110 hertz is supposed to um, get your mind into a receiving mode to where you're
Right.
receiving information. So, yeah, I mean, that's where the frequency part gets me. Same thing with the pyramids. They all carry the same uh, frequency modulation as far as internal audio conductance. And that to me is like, it's like a little too close to be, because you can find it in it all the way from ancient Egypt to ancient Mayan,
Right.
Aztec, all over the world. So either they all knew something we didn't or don't, or, we were just taught not to believe in it anymore.
Right.
you know. And that's where I go off on a lot of stuff, and that's why I don't believe in a lot of shit. Hence the whole flat Earth thing. I just stopped buying
Oh
the
yeah,
narrative. You know.
that's a rabbit hole. You know, and I was thinking about and I'm gonna go pee real quick if that's okay, and then
Yeah,
I'll come
yeah,
back.
go for it.
I want to get into the whole I know we're getting off cryptids here and stuff, but I, I don't discuss this a whole lot. And the whole flat Earth versus hollow Earth thing, you
Yeah,
know,
well, actually, they can join, but yeah, go take a
yeah,
leak, man.
exactly. That's where I'm going with it. But yeah,
Yeah,
let me run real quick, and I'll be right back.
yeah, man, go for it. So, speaking to the chat, man, y'all got anything y'all want to discuss? We're about to probably dig down a little bit into this. You know, I want to touch on it because I want to save the actual flat Earth thing for Texas show on Texas Front Porch. I think we're going to do that Sunday. So be sure to tune in because it's not going to be a debate, but it's going to be a discussion about the possibilities of any of this. So if y'all got any topics you want us to touch on, you know, shoot from the hip, man. I ain't tripping. It should be fun, Red Edge. It should be fun. I think we're gonna be having a blast on that one. And Sunday is my Friday, so yeah, I'll definitely be doing more than the average shot. Flat Earth is stupid. It's nothing more. Maybe. You know, I wouldn't kick that out of bed. When I first got into it, I thought it was the dumbest shit I ever heard of until I started looking at it in a different perspective, and now it's gonna be pretty fucking hard to turn me back, get me back in the old direction. I just think that a lot of the things that we've been told and indoctrinated into as children, and to be told what's real and what um, isn't what they told us. I think they were hiding a lot of shit, and that goes from everything from ghosts to, you know, it used to be ghost stories, and now you have people out there making millions of dollars on um, ghost hunting. So if you're hunting stories, then there should be no validity behind it. You know, that's just my thoughts. What do I think about LA Marsless theories? I don't know what that is. Flat Earth argument is based off a logical fallacy and slippery slope. Just because something is wrong doesn't mean the opposite is true. Yeah, I mean that's your take on it. That's cool. See, that's one thing I figured out exactly in the very beginning of it, and that's why I don't argue it. Um, believe believe nothing of what you hear and only half of what you see. So until you actually physically get me up in there in a SpaceX freaking piece and I can see it for myself with my own eyes, I'm not going to believe anything anyone has to say about it. Just talking of flat planes of existence, maybe. Actually, Red Edge, I do have. I was actually trying to find it, but I do have a downloaded. It was a piece for. Remember when they had the Challenger program? It was a piece for it. It was like a NASA document. You can still find it. It's just really hard to find. um, instruction manual on how to fly it. And the very first freaking sentence on that whole thing is meant for a flat plane and not in zero curvature. So why would you put that on an instruction manual? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. Yeah, you're right. Donnie Cho says there's nothing wrong with questioning conventional wisdom. It's just done when people jump to the opposite case when they see the flaws, and that's what that's not what brought me to seeing the opposite case. Um, Seeing the opposite case is when I opened up my eyes and actually started seeing things that didn't make sense to people. Told me one small example, because I'm not going to get into it. I'll save that for Texas show. One small example. Uh, the shadow of the moon, right? The phases of the moon is whenever the Earth gets in between the sun and the moon. I've seen the sun way the fuck up here, and I've seen the moon way the fuck up there. There's nothing in between it, and yet it's a half a moon. So yeah, I Jose, I don't think there really was an accident. I think if you do some research and look up the people from the Challenger are still alive, it's a very compelling argument.
That's a rabbit hole I've never been down.
Dude, they have the same names. They look the exact same. They each became professors in colleges like a year after it. Like the same droopy eyelid dude is same dude. I swear, it's freakish. And then there's a couple of them that they're like, oh no, he had a twin brother. I'm like, yeah, the
That's
but
confusing.
whatever. I mean, it could be real, and it
Well,
could be not.
that's like the argument that the guy with the whole Cybertruck thing
Oh
wasn't
yeah,
it
yeah,
wasn't,
yeah.
it wasn't him, because if you start looking into his background, you know, and a lot of people made a big deal out of him and the other guy serving at Fort Bragg. They tried to pass it off like they served with each other. No, they didn't. They passed through the same damn base. Do you realize how many hundreds of thousands of people go through that base?
Yeah, yeah.
Hell, me and I probably went through the same bases they did. It doesn't mean I'm in cahoots with them, you know.
Yeah. Boondock
Thought
said,
I'd
"Did you
join him.
see?" Yeah, go for it, man. This is a speakeasy. Boondock said, "Did you see two moons in the sky a while back?" I personally did not. I saw a bunch of people that did. Um, but I am a subscriber. So if you actually look up the US patent of um, a solar simulator, it looks an awful lot like that James Webb telescope that they put up. And I noticed that so the sun is followed by the moon, right? When that eclipse hit, the moon came in this way and covered it up. I was outside watching it, and I'm like, wait a minute. The moon's supposed to come in after the sun, not in front of it. So I think there was some fuckery going on. Yeah, but don't listen to my logic at all. Like I literally believe the Earth was round until CERN, and it spun us into a parallel universe where now it's flat. So don't listen to me.
Well, man, that CERN is you talk about a deep hole,
Oh yeah,
literally and figuratively. I mean,
yeah,
you could spend days just talking about the opening ceremony. I mean,
exactly,
that
dude.
is some
Why?
hinky
Yeah,
shit, man. That is some
yeah,
hinky evil shit, if you ask me.
yeah. There's no, I've I worked for plenty of big corporations, IBM, 3M, and never did we have any opening ceremonies. Usually it's just cutting a ribbon and opening a new building.
Yeah, no, we
Yeah,
didn't. I don't ever remember NASA or the Olympics or any big opening or anything like that, nuclear plants or anything like that, having a mock human sacrifice. You know?
exactly. Right. Yeah.
Boondock Corey says he actually saw the dual moon thing, and he's
See,
right up in southeast Oklahoma.
I haven't seen the dual moon, but okay. So Jen's a non-believer in pretty much all this shit. She's like, it's all
Really?
bullshit. Oh yeah, she's total skeptic as fuck.
Oh, I got stuff to show.
And then I was getting into the Nibiru thing, right? And I was like starting to watch that. And she's like, "This is stupid. Why are you, stupid? I'm gonna go watch my The Bachelor or whatever, Love Island or some shit."
Because that's an intelligent show.
Yeah, because you learn so
She's
much.
gonna shoot me when she sees me in San Antonio. I heard what you said.
But one night it was coming on. It was sunset, so the sun was just setting down, and we're going down this farm to market road. We're heading to Dollar General from in town, and she's like looking out the window, and I'm driving, so she's looking out the passenger window, and she's like, "What the fuck is that?" And I was like, "What do you see?" She's like, "What is that?" And there was the moon here, and there was this big dark moon about twice its size right next to it, but you couldn't really, it wasn't illuminated like the moon's illuminated.
Right.
And so I was like, so we pull into the Dollar General. We have the older kids go out and get sodas and whatever, So we're outside smoking a cigarette in the parking lot and watching it. And sure enough, there's the moon. And then there's this big freaking planet looking thing, right next to it. Well, behind it. Obviously, pretty far behind it because there was no light on it, but you could see it. And I was like, "See, babe, I told you in the beer, man. She's coming. They're on a knocker. You're coming for us, man." She's like, "Shut the fuck up." But I don't know what the fuck that is. And I'm like, "Yeah, see." Same with the Mandela effect. Because she owned a Volkswagen at the time. And I was not reading, but I was listening to Coast to Coast with Art Bell. Or no, it wasn't Art Bell, it was the new dude.
Matt Knapp.
And,
George Knapp.
George Knapp, yeah. And they were discussing the Mandela effect, and one of them was that the V and the W are never connected, that there's a line between it. And she's like, "Bullshit. I drive a Jetta." She's like, "I know for a fact." And I was like, "Well, let's go out and find out." And went outside, and she got in her car, looked at the steering wheel, turned on a flashlight. She got so spooked she jumped out of the seat and walked around the car. She's like, "No, there's no way. There's no freaking way. I know. I've been driving this car for 10 years. I know my car."
What'd you do? What'd you do, Joe?
Exactly. I went and filed a little razor blade piece in there. Yeah.
I know this was you.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, there's I don't kick anything out of bed, and there's a bunch of weird stuff like that. But what were we going to talk about?
We were fixing to get into the whole flat Earth, hollow Earth thing because I've never really had a discussion about it. And but we do that. What we're going to do on my show because that's the barrel I want to put you in.
No, that's fine. I got plenty of
I did. I was sitting here and I did open up pictures that I've got. If you want to go through some pictures and stuff like that, We,
Yeah.
evidence and stuff like that. We can do that for a little bit on the cryptid side of things.
Right on. Yeah, I'm
I
down.
mean, it's up to you, brother.
That's
I'm
cool,
game for
man.
anything at this point.
Well, yeah, see, so just off the top of my nugget, so when you look at all the ancient maps that the ancient people had, ancient maps that ancient people had. No, it is.
Ancient
It's
maps
all
the new people had.
it's all a domed flat piece, and it's got like a cavernous system,
Right,
right?
right.
And it kind of looks like roots of a tree, right? And if you take into account the tree of life, um,
Yeah,
and all that, then it makes a lot of sense, as far as uh, how you think a root system would work from a original tree. You know what I mean? You have
yeah,
the tree, you got the flat soil, and you have the root system.
yeah. It looks like, I
So
mean, it's a root ball.
yeah,
Um, and I'm with red edged or savage out there. Um, I don't lean so much towards the flat Earth.
yeah,
Um, Simply because the flat earthers did themselves a very, very big disservice when they put out that that documentary, and they were doing these experiments and they failed. Like,
yeah,
why would you put this in your documentary when you
yeah,
just proved
yeah,
yourself wrong? You know, um, but plus, the people that they talk to, that's who you choose to represent you.
Dude. I shake my head every fucking day, dude. like
I
like
mean,
because
like,
I have a pretty logical ideology about it, and then I watch these cats and they put out some of the most ridiculous evidence, and it's not evidence, it's just flawed, like Donnie Cho was saying. It's flawed logic and it
right?
holds no water. And
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, stop. It's like having that dumbass in your gang. Like, just kick him out of the gang because he's making us look bad.
Well, but I mean, we deal with the same thing, and I'm going to call it a flat Earth community or whatever you want to call it.
Right,
But we
right.
deal with the same thing in the cryptid, the UFO, and the paranormal. It's the same. We deal with the same thing. People are putting stuff out there that you're like, why are you putting this out there? It's like,
Yeah.
and then when you break it down, and I actually, I did a show about this because I felt bad because I I was kind of watching the comments on a bunch of shows and stuff, and I got called out on it by a person, and I'm like, well, are we really doing that? Because I started my channel and stuff on the premise that everybody's experience, no matter what it was, mattered, and they had a
Right.
safe place to go. And I started realizing that I was being kind of dismissive of other people. And I'm like, wait a minute, I need to rein in here and do a reality check. I need to get myself grounded a little bit. And because that's the last thing I want to do. I don't want to
Right.
isolate anybody. I don't care what camp you're in and what community, whatever, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, you don't want to be the person. You don't want to be the
I'm
same
not
thing.
one to judge, right?
Right. Yeah.
And so I actually did a show, and basically it was a big drawn out apology for being a dick. I mean, but I mean, that may be the wrong term. I don't think I am a dick. Don't get me wrong. I have my dick moments.
Yeah,
But it's more of being
I am too. Right.
be a real smart ass sometimes. But when it comes to real, people that something that really affects people, that I know how it affects them because I've been through the same shit myself. You know, I need to, and I think everybody, and I'm going to blow your mind here, folks. I know a lot of these YouTubers, they start believing their own hype, and they get a little popularity, and they get a little attitude, and you're nobody, dude. You're just
Yeah, that
you're just you. You know,
that ego starts
and
taking
no
over.
PhDs behind your name. You ain't got this. You ain't got that. You just some Joe Schmo that's fell off the same damn wagon everybody else did. You just happen to have a computer in front of you. you know,
Yeah,
um, but I wanted to get back to what I originally was doing, and that's letting people share their encounters and backing them up. Not that I believe everything and everybody says, and I think that's a fine line to walk. But and it's hell. It's like I say in my intro. We may not always agree, but that's okay.
yeah, it's totally fine.
That's okay. But we all need to be. Hey, Donnie Cho is here. We all need to realize that we've all had an experience, no matter what it is, that has affected us. And that's what we're here to talk about. That's what
Yeah,
we're here to explore. And it's that's I just really need to rein myself in a little bit, and I think I did that. I think I did it in a good way the other night. But I digress. I'm sorry. But the whole hollow earth thing, I'm more on board with than say the flat earth theory.
yeah. No, I think they tie both and both together.
Well, and it may be. It may be. I don't know. I can't. I haven't been able to swallow the red pill yet. Okay, that's all I'm saying
Right,
on the
right.
flat
No,
earth thing.
I don't expect anybody to. It's like let me just address this real quick. Johnny Show says flat earthers are usually too dumb to realize that the burden of proof is on them. They have to prove without a shadow of a doubt that the earth is not round. So when it all comes down to it,
Do you?
I look at it as a belief system. Can I
Exactly.
prove that God is real? No, I can't. But do I subscribe to the fact that he is? Yes, I do. So it's I don't believe any of it unless any of us can go there, or unless any of us can, like I said earlier, fly up in a SpaceX or something and go look at it for yourself.
Right.
Then because a lot of things about the flat earth is topography. Like, oh, well, you can't see Mount Everest from Austin, Texas with a telescope. Well, yeah, because topography exists. It doesn't but it doesn't mean that the entire thing is what we were indoctrinated into believing. If we're indoctrinated into believing the Darwin system, then you'd have uh, no reason to believe in the creationism.
Right.
So, right. So, it's all, you're just a modified fish monkey,
Yeah.
living on a rock that circles in a galaxy in a million miles an hour. And, you're never, anything you ever do is never going to mean nothing
Yeah. See,
because,
I can't swallow the whole thing. The whole with that, I cannot swallow that all this happened by just fucking coincidence.
right. Right. Yeah.
There's too
Yeah.
much crap. There's too much crap that the mathematics alone do not add up.
Exactly. Yeah. But
It's just like it's no different than all the stuff in the heavens, in the sky, all these planets and all this kind of stuff. You have to be very, very, very arrogant and just have a set of blinders on to not even
question.
to not even to not even give other life the time of day.
Right.
That
Yeah.
idea. I
Absolutely.
mean, just again, mathematics alone. If 1% of 1% of 1% of 1% of the planets have life on them, or if that's the
Yeah,
equation,
in all of the in all the
it
galaxies
doesn't
and all the
matter.
universes, and
It's still there.
that's
You know.
yeah, yeah.
So
But yeah, on the Hollow Earth thing, and I forgot who was talking about it earlier. The Project High Jump, and so that's the Admiral Byrd, and
oh yeah,
so yeah, there. According to that theory, then yeah, there are 2 points of entry, and Admiral Byrd stated that whenever they, um, Monica texted me, um, that whenever they flew over, that there was in Antarctica that he found about a 1 mile in diameter hole that he flew into, and then there was an interior hollow Earth that had its own sun. Gravity switched. It went from falling to, levitating. Um, I I I find that one a little off. Because um, his diary was proven written with not in his own handwriting, so red flag there. Um, but would I kick it out of bed? No, because I
right.
mean, I wasn't there. You know, apparently, if you look on like the what is it, the Pierce map from like 1500s, where it shows all of Antarctica, uh, the landscape, the greenery of it,
Right.
and it shows the four continents that are surround the Arctic, the North Pole, and that there's this big black pyramid, right in the middle, and then they can take that to the original Garden of Eden biblically, to the four rivers that were running out of it. You know, I don't know, man. I mean, you can go down that one and make a lot of logic out of it. I used to be a big when I did believe in, non flat Earth, um, the Apollo missions, like especially Apollo 17. When they were finding, like BMR was talking about last night on Monica's channel, about, hang on, I just got a ha ha ha. Um, yeah, there's the crystal towers that were up there, the soul cube, the exhaust jets. Shit, they found like they have pictures in NASA files that you can actually go to NASA and find them, that have like the X-wings from freaking Star Wars crashed out there. Like,
and see that again, if that stuff is readily out there that you can find, and they're not making any effort to hide it,
right.
what does that say? They're either not worried about it,
Yep.
or it's exactly.
Yeah.
It's a, hey,
Yep.
let's give them this and they'll pay attention to this, and while we
Right.
can do this over here, and
Yeah.
that's kind of where I'm leaning. I mean, I really do. And because the art of deception, folks, is, and I'm going to steal something from some I watched today. Um, it starts as simple and easy and as young as when you buy a kid a magic kit.
Yeah. I'll go with
You
that.
know, we're so integrated for that stuff that it's almost, we get it from where to go, that we're almost trained to, let that happen.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
we're indoctrinated
Yeah.
to be manipulated.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And
It's called educational programming and television
yeah,
programming
I
for
mean,
a reason.
who didn't, you know, in the 1950s and 60s and even the 70s, and I think partially, well, I think until the internet came along and the world got a lot smaller and the lines of communication opened between people that had different trains of thoughts. You got to remember, folks, you had no other way to get any information except 10 o'clock news at night or the newspaper. That was it. The radio, whatever the media put out there, you took as gospel, you know?
Yeah.
Um,
Exactly. Yeah.
and
Because you learn to trust the man,
yeah,
and that's what that's why I call it education, or they call it educational programming, is
yeah,
because you learn that what you're told is fact.
right,
And one of the things that gets me is anytime I talk to anybody about, oh, I question this, and then they Google it.
right,
So, oh, Google's the absolute gospel. So, it's like, wait a minute, what happened to us looking, you know, if me and you step outside tomorrow, right out of our front doors, and we look around and we go about our lives, other than what we're told is real, isn't really real. We don't know who's in charge of the government. We don't know. I don't know if Pakistan even exists because I've never been there to touch it to know. Other people have, and they can go, yeah, I've been there, but
yeah,
I don't fucking know for sure.
right,
I'm taking someone else's word for it,
right,
and I think that that's why a lot of like the Library of Alexandria, a lot of literature from Page has been purged out, and now we're on a system that says, "Oh, don't worry, we did all the research for you. Here's
yeah,
what
yeah.
it is."
Here's what you need to believe,
Yeah,
and it's the thing about it is, and I've heard countless freaking YouTubers talk about when they get demonetized or when they get shadow banned or whatever.
mm-hmm.
Um, or when even as far as, and I know y'all have heard them out there. I know people. I know you have, and you may believe them. I don't know. I don't.
Yeah,
And I've been part of those things that happen, those weird things that happen, those glitches and all this kind of stuff. It was, you can't. There's no freaking way that any of us are getting too close to the truth and we're
yeah,
being attacked for it. It just, because, folks, nothing we say hasn't already been said on freaking national television. Okay. I'm just
yeah,
saying,
yeah. I
we're
remember.
not
Yeah,
going to,
I remember when I was probably in maybe junior high when um that whole was the moon landing faked program came on, and they put it out there on national TV, and they're like, oh, look at the flag waving, or look at him falling down and then picking himself back up,
yeah,
and I was like, oh yeah, well, bubbles busted, you know what I mean? And ever since then, I think that was probably one of the breaking points where I learned to question it for my own self instead of just being a sheep,
right.
and being told that that's what's happened. And think of it this way. I mean, shit, man. Look at the Christopher Columbus, right? The first man to discover the Americas. No, well,
Bullshit.
Yeah, we have evidence now that
Yeah.
the Vikings discovered it way before that, and not only um, informational evidence but physical evidence,
Yep.
and that the
You got rooms in freaking Minnesota and shit. I mean, come on.
right, exactly, yeah, but we still have Columbus Day. Like, what in the
Well,
shit
now
was
they're
he?
now they're calling it
Now it's National
Indigenous
Indigenous
Peoples
Day,
Day,
right?
you
Yeah,
know, which I'm on board with, honestly.
yeah.
Um, um,
And he didn't even make it to North America. He made it to the freaking the the Bahamas and shit. Like he didn't even see freaking
but
like New York or any of that
well,
shit.
the I man, the whole Native American situation chaps my ass.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, people want to,
Obviously.
people want to whine, piss, and moan about the right using the right pronoun. We need other shit. We got other shit we got to make right before we even think about that. I'm sorry,
Yeah. No,
but
definitely.
we don't want to go down that road because powers to
Yeah.
be do not like that.
No, they do not. But
But
no, but it's just that same commonality of the fact that things that we were grown up and told to believe as fact,
yeah,
and that used to always like chap my hide about, like, I think I've said this, I might have said it with you before, but I've said it on Monica's channel, I know for a fact. When they started teaching you fact and fiction, and it was like multiple choice, and is this fact or is this fiction? And it would be phrases, right? Like, you know, American America was established in 1776, or whatever. And if I, that's where I drew the line. I was like, well, I don't know if that's fact or fiction because I'm not good enough at school to remember history. So was it 1776 or was it 1775 or was it 1777? I don't
well,
know. So I can't call it fact, but you know, or it was fact or opinion. That's what it was, not fact or fiction. Fact or
right.
opinion.
Well,
You
and
know,
what's the line, the Highlander in the movie Highlander,
yeah,
when he's talking about the America, claiming their independence, and it's a different year than what she was taught.
yeah,
And she goes, "Are you sure?" Yes. He was there, dude. I mean, it's that kind of thing. And I'm not saying that history is correct according to the Highlander movie. Okay, that's not what I'm saying.
right, yeah. No.
I just think it's a great. I just think it's a great, example. But
I had a dude try to prove flat Earth because of Superman 2 and the Phantom Zone. He's like, see, the Phantom Zone was flat, so that means I was like, shut the fuck up. you're you're making us all look stupid. Get the
fuck out. You're one of the reasons.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, but I did hear, not to shift gears, but I did hear they're pulling out a new fucking Highlander movie. And it's supposed to
Really?
be like a remake, and it's supposed to be damn good. Like everyone who's on board with
Huh.
it is like, nah, it's not going to be a piece of shit remake. It's going to be,
Man, I hope they do it
yeah,
justice. Good God Almighty.
they better, man, they better.
That's a slippery slope with that. It's one
Yeah,
of those movies where you better do a good job of it. You're going to get freaking roasted,
yeah. Don't come fuck with my childhood.
right? Well, I'll tell you what, and I know we're getting off subject here. Not, I don't guess we really have a subject,
Yeah,
but
no.
you want to talk about movie remakes that just really
Yeah.
pissed really pissed you off, right? My number one out of all of them, True Grit.
Oh, really? You didn't like
Yeah,
that, dude? I
I
actually
was
kind
so. I, I'm not saying it wasn't a decent movie.
of.
Okay, it
No,
was.
yeah, you're right. You're right.
Okay, What my point is, you took the one movie that John Wayne got a fucking Academy Award for, and that's the one you remake? When there honestly are a lot better movies that he was in that would have made a better remake.
Yeah. I would have liked to
Yeah.
see Cowboys remade.
Yeah. You know, I mean,
That would have
arguably,
been dope.
I would have been pissed off about that one too. But, um, but I mean, there's just so many out there. Villalobos, uh, just the sons of Katie Elder. I mean, the three
Yeah,
Godfathers. I
that
mean,
one.
come on, just they're all out. There's all kinds. But you take the one that he got Academy Award for, and you fuck it up.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was livid when that shit came out. To me, it was a slap in the face of John Wayne. To me,
Yeah.
I know
I dig it.
I know in their circle, I get it. It's supposed to be like almost paying homage to him and that type of thing. But yeah, no. You to me, you did it because you think you could do it better.
Yeah.
Okay. Because you didn't think that was good enough. So you think, oh, well, I can do this, but no, fuck you. Fuck you. Sorry.
No, you're right, man. No,
I
there are
I
some.
can get pretty riled up when it comes to that. I really do. Now I'll tell you a remake that I actually enjoyed, and a lot of people are going to go all over me because I love the original, okay, and I like the remake, and that's Red Dawn.
Red Dawn. Yeah, dude, I was just thinking that one. I was like, that's one that I fucking dug the shit out of the new one.
Yeah, they did a good job.
Yeah, they did a damn good job.
Yeah.
Yeah, it held all the pieces together. But yeah, I agree with you. There are some that just by proxy need to remain untouched.
Yeah.
Like Goonies. Don't you fucking remake Goonies.
Gremlins either, as far as that goes.
Well, there's supposed to be a part 3 with the original actor dude.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's supposed to be coming out.
And I heard this a couple of years ago. They were going to remake Jaws. I'm like,
oh no,
don't do
that. Don't do
because
that.
you're just going to screw it up with CGI crap.
Yeah.
If you don't do it with another Bruce, don't even bother.
Yeah. No, I agree. I definitely agree on Jaws. And
see, I was the same way about Nightmare on Elm Street. When they, I mean, I know they did all the different sequels, but when they came out with the remake and they went really, I mean, don't get me wrong, the others were dark, okay, but it was campy dark kind of thing.
Yeah, no, it's funny, especially when you got to Freddy's Dead. I mean, that shit was just ridiculous.
When they did the remake and they went really, really pedo dark on the thing, I'm like, kind of ruined it for me.
Yeah, no, it's funny that you mentioned it.
Fun and entertaining and just, made it unenjoyable. It's like, I felt bad for liking Freddy. I mean, it's like.
Right. Well, because, okay, so, yeah, just to break down that. So, during Thanksgiving break, I had my nephew and my youngest son out here. And I didn't make them, but I was like, binge watch these. So I gave them the entire Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street. And they're like, okay, well, we watched them. Let's watch the remakes. And I'm like, one you're going to kind of like, and the other is going to be crap. I'm just telling you. And the Nightmare on Elm Street one, first and foremost, okay, so breaking down the original and the sequels that followed.
Yeah.
Number one was very dark. It was very serious. There wasn't I mean, what's the funniest line that he had in that one was when he was like on the telephone. He's like,
Yeah, and the tongue comes out.
Yeah. And that was about it. But other than that, there was no comedy in it, whatsoever. And progressively it got. But when they did when they did the sequels, we got cooler lines and cooler one-liners from, welcome to prime time, bitch. Fucking awesome.
Right.
But the remake, they just tried to make it so, I don't know, so serious, but they turned him into, he was a child murderer. He wasn't,
right.
A
child molester. Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And
that's what I didn't like about it. I mean, being a child murderer is bad enough.
Right.
Why do you have to take that extra step?
They turn him into that. And then the dude that they had for him, that was that dude from The Watchers. I just didn't like the fit.
I didn't even watch the whole movie. I was like, I tried.
I did a few times.
I can't. It's just not. It wasn't fun to watch. I mean, it wasn't enjoyable because they turned it into something that it really wasn't.
Right. Yeah.
But I will. Dreamscape is another one I really, really wish they'd remake with today's technology, because you could do that with CGI and be okay and get away with it because of the technology they dipped into doing that movie.
Yeah.
But
now I recently watched I recently watched my Jen bought me all the Trimmers, and there's 8 of them now, I guess.
Dude, I love Trimmers.
Yeah.
Love Trimmers.
But she bought me the box set, and I'm watching them, and they stick to the line. They're cool, but back then, whenever CGI first popped off, we're still watching it on a maximum 18-inch television.
Right.
You know what I mean? Tube television. And so I'm watching it on my big 70-inch fucking television. And by the time they get to part 2, I'm like, dude, is that a cartoon trimmer? It literally looks like a freaking, like a cartoon, not like even CGI. It looks like someone painted it in there. And I'm like, oh God, that's so bad. Storyline great, everything great, but I don't think they realized we would have the magnifying glass of a 70-inch TV that we do now. But that also goes the other way. If you watch old like Ghoulies or
Kevin Bacon. Corey was saying, Kevin Bacon, greatest fuck you movie in movie history.
Yeah, and his start was Friday the 13th Part 1. That was his first.
Now, see, you talk about it wasn't a remake, but Halloween Kills.
Yeah.
Halloween
2018 Halloween was it Halloween Kills and then Halloween Ends. That was the trilogy.
Well, I guess I hadn't seen all of them, but
yeah.
I mean, I saw Halloween Kills and I liked it. I mean, I did, and but now that damn movie that I watched that you and Monica watched.
In a Violent Nature. Yeah.
They should have let them. They shouldn't have ever went with the hood. He was better off without it.
Okay, I can see that.
Because I think more of the character came out in it. Because once he's revealed and you find out, what the deal is with him.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, okay, you need to play on that, not cover it up. You know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they might have been going, well, this actor might not be the one for the sequel, or
Maybe,
but
maybe.
I did enjoy. I think I said it on Monica's last night. I did enjoy the forecasting or the history behind it, like,
Yeah,
because they rarely do that nowadays,
I
where
know.
they have there's a
The lost
history
art.
behind it. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's important. You know what I
Well,
mean?
they did it. They did it 80s style is what they did,
Yeah,
because they did it the whole campfire telling the spooky story thing, and that's how you find out about the background. You know, and then, I mean that's and they did it as a nod to that. You know damn well they did.
yeah,
You know, because they make the offhand remarks about, you know, this looks like every horror movie. You know.
yeah, yeah, yeah. They semi cracked the fourth wall.
Right.
Yeah. But no, I did enjoy that one. It is
But
very
I think
rare
there's
that
going to be another one. Looking at the ending, it kind of ended a lot like, well, they left it open for sure.
yeah,
You know,
yeah. That's what I think that they were doing with it, and maybe like in the next one they'll pull like a Friday 13th Part 2 where the mask gets ripped off, and
right?
yeah.
Oh, I know what I've been wanting to ask you about.
What you got?
This new this new Return of the Living Dead movie they're coming out with.
Oh,
Trash's Revenge.
yeah, yeah. I
Have you
saw
read the synopsis about this?
Yeah, I have. I've been studying that for a minute. Yeah, because I'm a huge Return of the Living Dead fan. That was
Oh,
like
me
one of
too.
my favorite movies.
I'm hard pressed not to call it the #1 zombie movie ever made.
It's
And I'm
great.
not a big zombie fan, but I love that movie. But I was like, when I first read the title, and I went, "What the hell's gonna?" You know, they all, how's this gonna happen? They all got freaking nuked and shit. You know.
Right. Well, Trash's Revenge. So the new one that's the official is totally different from Trash's Revenge. So
Oh, really?
Linnea Quigley and the main sweetheart from the first one, I forget her name.
Right. Yeah. The cute little blonde
brunette chick, the one that's like, no, Freddie, staying with him.
Yeah. The preppy hanging out with all the punk rockers.
Yeah, the preppy hanging out with the punks. Yeah. So they're pushing for a fan film. And that's going to be done independently because of copyright bullshit. But there is a teaser trailer for a remake of Return of the Living Dead, and it's got Slime Guy or whatever you call him. People have different names for him, where he's carrying the Christmas tree through the woods. And so those are two totally different. They're getting mixed up because they're getting put out around the same time.
Gotcha.
But yeah.
I just brought up. I just did a search for it, and it's gonna. Yeah, it takes place 18 months after the event where Trash's Revenge it's a totally different spin on things.
Right. Yeah. That's going to be a fan film, and not to knock the fan films. The new fan films are actually pretty fucking badass.
Yeah,
like they got the Never Hike Alone,
which the Equinox 1970. Granddad's. You know what? Right now. I'm going to look it up if I can find it. I'm going to Tubi to see if it's available on Tubi.
But yeah, so Never Hike Alone, that's a Friday the 13th fan film, and And Thom, Thom, not Tom. Thom Matthews is returned as what's his fucking name? He was the Corey Feldman in part 4, 5 and 6. Man,
Okay, so the Equinox that I came across was made in 2008. I know that's not the one he's talking about.
yeah, the Tommy Jarvis. He returns as Tommy Jarvis in that one. And it's freaking dope. Like it is actually, it's a fan film, but it's really fucking good. Because that's the only way you can do any Friday the 13th right now, is because the 2 directors that are producer or writers that made Friday the 13th are in a court battle. So that's the reason why after Friday the 13th part 7 came out, that's the reason why it was they turned into Jason Goes to Hell, Jason X, Jason
Right.
Takes Manhattan, because they couldn't use the Friday the 13th badge.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah, I'll have to figure out where I can watch this thing at, because I don't know where it's at.
Probably on Shudder. I bet you, if it's from the 70s, you can probably find it on Shudder.
I don't remember seeing. I went through every movie on Shudder last night, and I don't remember seeing it. But I wasn't looking for it either. So
yeah, that's my go-to whenever I'm just chilling and ain't got shit to do. I'm like, Shudder.
that's usually what I'm doing about this time of night.
Yeah.
Because there ain't nothing else to do.
Right. No shit.
Especially now with right now everybody's got all the ice and crap. You damn sure ain't gonna go outside.
Oh yeah, y'all are up north. Yeah, no, we just got it all rainy and cold and miserable. So it's like you got to go to work, but it's gonna suck.
Man, yeah. I was we were doing the show earlier over on the girls. No, it's not on Shudder. Damn it. And it's not on Tubi. It may be on YouTube.
Yeah, he said it was on YouTube. Yeah, Granddad, okay. I'm from Texas, Central Texas.
All right, cool. Then I will
go. Well, yeah, well, we got a couple minutes. I'm gonna wrap it up at 12:30, and just so Jen doesn't kill me in my sleep.
Okay.
And but yeah, so you got anything going on? What do you got?
Tomorrow, I've got an interview on shit. Let me look real quick. Damn it, where was it at? Open up my calendar. Bigfoot Society. I'm being interviewed on Bigfoot Society. It's pre-recorded, I believe, so I don't know when it's going to come out, but and then I'll probably jump on Rob's show tomorrow night. And oh shit. I'm on I'll be on Brent's show tomorrow night too, Paranormal Portal.
Sweet.
Damn, I got a full day. I didn't know. Son of a bitch.
Well, you still want to fuck with the Flat Earth thing on Sunday, or?
Yeah, we can do it on Sunday. I mean, we'll have because Monica's going to be gone, right?
What's that? 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th. No, she's not leaving until the next Thursday, I think.
Okay, well,
we can. Orleans.
We can
But I don't
tell.
think she wants to hear. I don't think she wants to hear my bullshit.
But see, that's the great part about it is we get her stuck and she won't, you know,
Yeah, then she has no choice.
can't go nowhere.
Right.
I don't know with me and them,
Yes.
say hell with y'all and just bail. I don't know.
So Sunday, I'm getting off work 7 o'clock. So, and that's my Friday night. So anytime after that, you just let me know.
I
Just give me
usually
a
don't.
text.
I don't start my show on Sundays till 10. Me and Monica usually do a nine hour on 10 at 10. And
Right on.
he's going to talk flat Earth and all that kind of stuff. I'm sure after tonight being on Josh's show, she wouldn't have a problem taking the night off on Sunday.
Yeah. Yeah, she's like, Jesus, this is a long show. Yeah.
Yeah, he
Josh
runs a
is
marathon, man.
Yeah, he does. But yeah,
Hey,
so
cold in the dark.
right, yeah. What up? What up? Welcome to the show, even though we're closing it out. But yeah, man, I don't have anything going on till then, and yeah, I'll just get off and you said, Joe, please don't when World Bigfoot Central's on. I'll try to work my schedule around you, but I don't know.
But yeah, we'll let's just plan on Sunday night at 10 then.
Right on. I'm down.
I'll just
Totally
give
down.
Monica the night off and save her the headache.
Gotcha. Well, yeah, man. If you want to give any outros to the chat or anything like that,
Man,
man,
I gotta talk about the conference a little bit. You know, I mean,
do you think? Go for it so I can take a piss real quick.
Okay. We got a conference coming up in September 19th and 20th over in Richmond, Missouri, and yeah, it's Crossing Realms Conference, guys. Look it up on Eventbrite. Tickets are freaking cheap, and it's the who's who of the Bigfoot, paranormal, and UFO world going to be there. It's unbelievable who you're going to get to hobnob with, and the opportunities that are going to, the activities and stuff we're going to have is just unbelievable. We've got a meet and greet on Friday night with a film showing from Christopher Garetano, and Miguel is going to speak with Sasquatch Theory. He's going to be there, and then Saturday we've got the conference, and then we've got a gallery reading with Mary Lynn Bast of Para with the Normal. It's being sponsored by her and Doug Hychek. The conference is, and the Front Porch Crew, the Island of Misfit Toys, we're all hosting it. The Blondes and the Boost, and Donnie and Paul and Randy and Danielle and Monica, all of us, and Jason, we're all going to be there. So yeah, check it out on Eventbrite.
Right on. That's the one in September, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Monica said she's going to drag me there, kicking and screaming, whether I like it or not.
Well, there you go. See? It's going to be a good time, brother.
Yeah, might just meet Joe Breezy up there. Shit.
And we do have slots open at $75 and $50. So if you want to get you a table up there,
right on. I might have to produce some promotional material in order to get a table, but yeah.
Well, there you go.
Right on.
But yeah, it's gonna be we're gonna have a good time.
Fucking A. So everybody out there, thank y'all for tuning in. Appreciate all the love, and one love. God bless, and keep looking for the truth because it's out there somewhere. Y'all have a